Friends. Welcome to the Afropreneur Without Borders show. My name is Clyde Shirati, and I'm again very happy to have the opportunity to talk to you about business. As you know, our show is about business development, entrepreneurship within our communities, and today we've got one of the youngest business development officer you will probably ever meet, and I will introduce our guest tonight. Her name is Mitchell Matemayi. Hi, Mitchell. How are you?
Hi, Clyde. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good to have you on the show. How's
It's good to be here.
life? How's life in Adelaide? We know you're based in Adelaide. How's
Yeah.
things over there?
It's good. It's been a bit rainy, but it's really good so far.
Well, you should try Melbourne. It's not only rainy, it's windy and cold, and put it all together, it's terrible. But anyway, tell
I,
us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You are here because you are involved in business. I know you're still a very young person. We're going to get into those details in a moment, but introduce yourself to our audience so they get to know a little bit more about yourself.
yeah, so my name is Michelle. I'm 17 and I've been in business for a few years now. I'd say since 2021. I am currently in year 12. And as part of business, I work in Mitchell Healthcare as well as being the head coordinator at ComShare. Yeah,
Okay. Now, you are 17. You are still in high school. I understand,
that's right.
and you are heavily involved in business. Where did that
Yeah,
come from?
quite a journey, but I think I've
Yes.
always just grown up wanting to do something a little bit different. I feel like, especially in this generation, it's kind of school, McDonald's, job, but I feel like there's so much more that we could be doing, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of that.
All right, let's try to get a little more details about your business. What business are you involved in? And I know you do this business with your mom. Tell us a little bit more about the business.
Yeah. So starting off with Mikhail Healthcare, we do all things incontinence. So that's inclusive of continence assessments. And we also do continence product supply, as well as doing continence management training and education programs across the state and across Australia in general. And through that, we've been able to work with NDIS and pharmacies and wholesalers and retailers and aged cares and do all sorts of things in supporting people living with incontinence and removing that stigma around talking about incontinence. So that's definitely been a partnership between me and my mum. We started very small, but together we've been able to build something that's been able to impact a lot of people. And that's been really great.
And when did you start? When did you start getting involved? Perhaps I'm not sure if your mom started it before and then you got involved into it at some stage, or you started all together. Give us a bit of a
Yeah.
description of the story, how it started.
So it all started with an idea, I would say. It started with an idea. So I remember mom talking to me and she has a over a decade of experience in aged care. So she used to spend ages just being in like the pad rooms as well as kind of seeing and hearing from people's perspectives. She's definitely somebody who loves to hear people's stories and she's always had a mind that seeks to solve problems. So I remember her coming to me one day and she was like, Michelle, this has been my experience. And I feel like because she wanted to start a business herself. And she was like, what could we do? Like, I'm thinking of starting a continence business and all of this. And I was like, Mom, I think we should have our own product. And that's when we kind of started building our brand QSoft and we built it, from an office desk. But now we're able to have storage houses and all these different things of QSoft products and being able to supply those frequently. And that's been going on, I'd say, starting 2021 was when we started.
And I understand you played a critical role in developing the product.
I wouldn't say developing the product as per se. She was definitely the brains of the operation because she knew the intricacies and everything in order
Yeah.
to create a unique product for the people. I more so played a role in the brand itself. So I am very design orientated. I have experience with designing websites and logos and flyers and collateral and everything else. So I was definitely like the look, as well as the logo, the website, as well as customers relations and customer stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And was it challenging for you as such a young person, still struggling with high school, things, and then having to go into business. How you manage these challenges?
Yeah. Well, challenges, I feel like I would agree with you that it was definitely a challenge. It was a way for me to really step up because I think at the time I would have been year 10. Yeah, like halfway or starting year 10. So that's
Mhm.
definitely when school, it's crunch time. You've kind of graduated from middle school and primary school, and you're having to kind of manage your time a bit wisely. But I had done a program at my school, which helped me with my time management skills. So it was kind of implementing those time management skills, still allowing myself to have some breaks, and also asking for help when I needed it as well.
All right, and um, you did the design of the website and all that sort of thing. Is that the sort of thing do you actually learn it from school, or you had to learn it yourself?
So the web design I learned myself. I remember back in my primary school, we had computer classes, and that kind of taught me the basics coming from Zimbabwe. So I learned the basics through there, and then I kind of just got really interested in it, and I just made my own websites for fun. I remember my teachers sometimes I would present my assignments in the form of websites, and they'd be like, "Oh, there's no way you made a website," but I actually really enjoyed it. So that was probably the way that I learned best, just by doing it myself and learning new things.
All right, now let's go into the actual operations of the business. How do you? I mean, what are the things that you do on a daily or regular basis as part of your role in the business with your mom?
Okay, so my regular, including sending emails, I do a lot of customer communications and customer relations. I manage like orders that might be coming in. I talk to people about, product feedback, continually seeking product feedback to better our services, as well as business development. So that includes attending expos and presentations and scheduling our continent education sessions as well to community groups. So I'd say a lot of it is definitely talking to clients, making collateral, social collateral to be sent to the public, all sorts of different things, but mostly customer relations.
And do you find that easy to do?
Yeah, I do. I think I generally enjoy speaking to people and learning about their needs and talking to them and making sure that they're getting the best out of what we do. So I do find it pretty natural for me. It's not something that I have to be too stressed about.
We found about you and your business with your mom at the recent Afropreneur Summit Australia, which was organized in Adelaide on the
Yes.
20th of June. You attended, and along with your mom and many other people who were there. Tell us a little bit how you saw that whole summit.
Yeah, it was actually really nice. I think a lot of, because as part of my business with ComShare, which is my own kind of business, I work a lot with city councils and different groups. And I find there's not a lot of Africans in that space. And you're often the odd one out. So being in a place of like-minded business people that also know the cultural roots and the cultural mindsets of being an African, that was really such a breath of fresh air. And I really enjoyed the whole experience. I thought it was very nicely done.
Not many young people, especially of your age, in our communities, are interested in developing businesses, attending these forums, networking, and
Yeah.
do all of that. Where is that drive coming from, as far as you're concerned, from you?
I think especially for me, I wasn't born in Australia. So I've kind of had the world experience of being able to be like, okay, this is Zimbabwe. This is everything that's going on with this Zimbabwe. And it's a beautiful country. But of course, in any country, there's its own issues. But then you come over here to Australia and it's like a land of abundance. And you're kind of able to see that I would love to be living abundantly and doing something that could help me live comfortably to then give back to the people at home. And seeing my parents be able to, my mom especially, to be able to do business and being in that space, that gives me that drive to be like, I can do something to then better other people's lives as well. But to kind of
So,
tag on to, sorry, to kind of tag on to what you said, there's not
yeah.
a lot of people that are in this space. And I think that's because of the thought process that it's too hard or it's a parent's thing or it's an older people's thing. but you could also do it yourself. You just have to find something you're passionate about.
Absolutely, you could do it yourself. So, and that's that with the mindset. Now, as uh, based on your experience, what sort of thing you would encourage uh, in the community so that more people, young people of your age, and more, I mean, higher or less, you know, to be more encouraged to do business. What would you advise to anyone seeking advice from you that you can draw from your experience to trying to get people to get more proactive in entrepreneurship and business development?
I think just starting with your vision and your why. Like, always have a why to what you're doing. And if there is something that's constantly you're thinking about, or a problem that you know you can solve in whatever way you can, I think it's always worth pursuing. And of course, it's very easy before starting a business and getting into business to think and to be like, where am I going to get the money for this? It's not always predictable income. It's not always, what if people don't like it? What if it takes time away from whatever else I do? But I think
Mm.
that's that leap of faith, knowing that short term pain for long term gain. Like, the things that you're going to do now are going to actually benefit you in the future, and you're going to be able to reach the point that you envisioned for starting the business. So I would say just go for it. If there's something that you have that you want to do, just do it.
And do you think this mindset you have and the drive behind it, did it come from your mom, or is just something that sort of naturally developed from you that you would have done even if you were not necessarily connected to your mom's business?
I think it would be yes, because before starting Mikhail Healthcare, I had a tutoring business that I was actually doing, and that started, I think, 2019, called Guide Tutoring. I recently
Hmm.
had to close it because the demand of CompShare got a little bit high, but I think it was always something that I wanted to do. I never wanted to be part of the general workforce. I always thought it'd be cool to work for myself. So yeah.
Well, that's great. Not to be part of the general workforce. That's the
Thank you.
key because from the beginning you say yes, it's good. Maybe I mean there's nothing wrong being an employee somewhere. In fact, you can get a
Absolutely.
lot of experience and then utilize that experience to go and start your business. But if from a very young age you know that no, that's not where I want to go, it definitely gives you that additional drive and motivation to be able to get into business. Because let's
Yeah.
face it, business is a very difficult thing. It's not easy. You got to be able to make sure you you have a product or a service that you're offering that is
Yeah.
up to scratch, and then you got to find the client, you got to communicate, you got to develop a whole host of things to survive, because a lot of people start businesses but they don't survive for long. Now, for you, how long you and your mom have been doing this business for?
So since 2021, so I think we're almost reaching our third year now. We started
Okay.
halfway through 2021.
That's right. So it does take a little while to develop a business, but you're doing well. You are growing. You even talked about a whole is that a warehouse that you keep your stuff and distribute. How do you acquire clients? What do you do to grow to market yourself and grow?
Yeah, I think a very key tool to our success is social media and word of mouth. Because I remember mom always says that if you have something good, it's going to market itself. Like, you're not going to have
Hmm.
to keep pushing lots and thousands, because the product that you have, through word of mouth, people are going to want to share it. So I think definitely investing in social media. People are connected through social media, and one post can reach thousands upon thousands of people, as well as consistently providing high quality services. Because if people can trust that you're good, they're going to feel the urge and the need to refer you to other people. So I think those two areas are definitely have been our biggest points of growth.
And what would you say about what have been some of the biggest challenges for you and your business with your mom so far?
Yeah. So especially starting out, I would say one of our biggest challenges was knowing who to connect to. So, especially since our business itself is very different, continence products and continent services, people don't really talk about it much, and there's a bit of a
Hmm.
stigma to it. So people kind of shy away to it a lot. But if you know people, us knowing people in healthcare and knowing people in NDIS and knowing people in retail and marketers, connections build, help you to grow. I would say they
Mm.
really build your business. So I think at first we didn't really know who to go to because nobody talks about this kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
it was when we started, we actually had the courage to be like, okay, let's go to this networking event. Let's go talk to this person. Let's send out this email. That it was through those connections that we're able to overcome that barrier and start to see some real growth in our business.
You mentioned networking there. Do you think a lot of people in our communities understand the importance of networking, not just in business, even in general life, but ultimately in business, it plays a critical role. Do you think people in our communities have that understanding?
I don't think so. No, because especially leading with like African communities, we can often be quite reserved in the
Mm-hmm.
things that we do. And of course, it's really good to trust in yourself and know that you can do it, but it's also important to know that some things you cannot do and to
Mm-hmm.
understand your scope of experience and be like, this is what I can do, but I need to network and connect with this person and this person and this person for the things that I myself am not able to do as efficiently. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
whilst us as Africans, we can be very headstrong in our own abilities, it's also important for us to understand that we also have limitations and be able to connect to overcome those limitations.
And how do you network effectively?
Networking factor. Knowing what you need. So I think, especially when I was first starting out in business, I would talk to everybody for the sake of talking to everybody, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't involved in the conversation or understanding my or having like a strategy or a goal for every conversation that I had. It was just talking for the sake of talking. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say wanting to network effectively, know who you're talking to and why you're talking to them and the outcome of that conversation. So knowing that, okay, if I'm doing a food business, for example, I'm not going to go talk to a car dealer. I'm going to go talk to the people in the business that I'm doing for the reason that I need them for. And these are the
Mm-hmm.
actions that I'm going to take so that that networking opportunity is going to actually bring something back to my business.
Absolutely. Well, let me just remind our viewers you are watching Afropreneur Without Borders business show, and my guest tonight is Mitchell Matemayi, a young business development manager who is working and operating her business in the city of Adelaide in South Australia. We're talking about her experience in business. Mitchell, well, let's look at what are some of the ways you think, with your experience, that as a community, because when we're talking about changing the narrative in our community, the fact that we are viewed as African community from the broader Australian community, the perception is so much that okay, it's mostly people who've come to Australia from sort of forced migration or refugee background. They forget that there's actually also a whole group of people that have come here, skilled migrants and students, and people who have nothing to do with the refugee experience. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just that perception. Now, in order now to change that perception, obviously, portraying the success that people are achieving in the business space is one thing, but then how do we get the community to embrace entrepreneurship and then be successful in it in a way that will make it visible to anyone that we are actually really making a huge contribution to the economy of this country.
I think the best that we could do is keep doing what we're doing and keep doing it right. So, not to fall under the stigma and succumb to the whole thought process of being like, oh, Africans, they don't have knowledge, they have substandard products. No, I think we should keep on doing what we're doing and keep doing it right, as well as fostering business within our own communities and with our own families as well. Because I feel like,
All right.
especially,
No,
sorry,
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I feel
Go
like,
ahead.
especially with young people, if we keep on fostering that business mindset, as well as
Yeah.
keeping our services up to scratch, even beyond, I think that would definitely be the message that we're trying to send out to people.
And how do we foster that mindset, especially for young people? What are some of the things you might recommend, whether it's for parents who have young children who are growing up or in high school, where they need to sort of already start working early enough to trying to condition them for business, you know, entrepreneurship success. And because I guess there are different layers. There's the responsibility from the person themselves,
Yeah.
from the family, the community, and the government. Give us some of your thoughts on every level of those. What do you think some of the recommendations would be to work on that?
I think I can start from parents. I think if parents, especially if you have a business, I would suggest bringing your kids into the business in some way, shape, or form. Because not just doing it and leaving it to the grown-ups, but also understanding that the kids have a very modern viewpoint and they could be able to give valuable suggestions or valuable assets. So knowing that, okay, my kid is really good at this, how could this benefit my business? And in that way, you're building that generational wealth and making
Mm-hmm.
sure that you can grow together as a family. In terms of kids, I would also say to, like I said before, like know something that you're good at or see a problem. And if you know that you could solve that problem some way, make money out of it. There's always a way, there's always something that you could be doing that can serve people and people will pay you for that service. And then I would also say, especially to councils and communities, like making a little bit, I want to say more effort, but making sure that it's a little bit more known to the people and young people that there
Mm-hmm.
are business opportunities out there, whether that's through youth parliaments or youth business grants or whatever they could be. Because with my experience, I know that there's definitely a lot out there, but it's not talked about a lot in schools and social platforms as I feel like it could be.
Mm. And
Yeah.
from a community level, in terms of us as African communities, we are obviously a very diverse community with different people from different backgrounds, different ethnic origin. But as a whole, what do we do in our communities to facilitate that entrepreneurship take up?
I think in the same way that we celebrate and we hold events for basketball or Independence Days, we should also be holding events for business meetings and business chats as well, especially community leaders or even just community people that are in business taking the time to say, okay, guys, Kenyan community, let's talk about business, or Tanzanian community, let's talk about business, in the same way that we would do country barbecues and basketball events and things like that. Like we should normalize talking about business as well.
Yeah, more business talk and beyond the talk, obviously, what do you think about collaboration and partnership? This is also something that is quite difficult. A lot of us talk about working together in many um, forums, and even, I mean, I've interviewed hundreds of people when you talk about unity in the community, collaboration, partnership. People say, "Yeah, we should do this," but in actual fact, it's not happening. It's people talk more than they actually do it. I know you're still young, but you got a lot of wisdom. What would you suggest?
I think, like you said, there's a lot of talk. There's not a lot of walking the walk,
Yeah.
but I think following through, especially the things that we do, and I really appreciate what you're doing, Clyde, especially in the Afropreneur Summit and this forum that you have here, because that's a way for people to be collaborating and talking. And I feel like it'd also be good to have like group focused forums as well. Like, yes, we have the
Hmm.
Afropreneurs and everything, but also saying Afropreneurs and yeah, yes, for example, Afropreneurs hair
Hmm.
and beauty, Afropreneurs
Hmm.
fashion. Like having those
Hmm.
consistent communications and developments where people can talk, offer
Yep.
advice, own experiences, maybe even collaborate by going to expos and social media posts or giveaways or whatever we can do just together in merging businesses and merging customers. I think that would be a great way to start.
All right. Well, we're
Yeah.
getting very close to the end of the this show, but again, just reminding those who are watching us now, who've just joined us, we're talking business. We've Mitchell Matemayi. If you have questions, guys, if you're watching, please write your questions and we can put those questions across to our guest, and that'll be appreciated. Also, tell us where you're watching from, and that will be something good as well. Now, just before we finish, there are so many challenges to succeed in business in the Australian context, because it's a very fast moving environment. The market is quite complex, although there are a lot of opportunities, but not many people necessarily survive when they start a business. Apparently more than half of business that are created end up dying within the first 2 to 5 years of existence. Now, for someone like you with that drive and passion that you have, when you talk about business growth, because there's one thing is you can start a business, that's probably the easiest thing to do, but growing a business is quite challenging. You have started with your mom, you started the business, you are growing. What would be some of your own advice with regards to what actually goes into bringing growth in your business, especially when you start as a small business with very limited funding? How do you develop a growth strategy that will succeed?
Yeah, okay. I would say I'll actually put it down to four main things. One, I would say have a business plan, doing your SWOT analysis and everything else. That kind of evaluates, your strengths, your weaknesses, your competitors, your edge, and how you can overcome those competitors, and really knowing and taking the time to study your business. Because yes, you are the founder and you probably know more than anybody else, but it's also
Mhm,
good to study your business in the scope of your marketplace and your audience and your competitors and everything else, and knowing
mhm,
your own edge and what you're bringing. So that's probably step one, or one of the points. Two, use the people around you. So especially if you know that, oh, this person is in this business, or they walked through the same journey as me, or they're really successful but they started here. Talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Be able to get, valuable advice, because people's experiences could definitely help with yours.
mhm,
Third of all, I'd say look for information. So whether that be through grants or through Google searches, if you're starting with very limited funds, look for those grants and look for people, because there are many people that are actually willing to help and support you if you're starting a business. And I would say fourth, consistent feedback and evaluation of your services. If you
mhm.
keep providing the same thing every time and you're not seeing growth, then it might be time to reevaluate what you're doing. So whether that be seeking client feedback or looking at what other people are doing that's causing them growth, how you can implement that and even better it for your own services. Don't just be stuck on what you have. Be willing to keep up with the changing trends in market, because people's needs are always changing. Um, a fifth one, a bonus one, I'd say just to not give up, because I feel like we can get really disheartened when that deal doesn't work or that doesn't work out, or we don't get as much money as we thought we were going to do out of this. But just keep consistent, keep on going, because you're more likely to succeed if you keep going than if you give up, definitely.
Absolutely. Quitters are never winners. You got to keep going, and in order for you to win. And
Absolutely.
maybe one last question is, I have noticed recently in the community that there's more entrepreneurship from female. So women, young ladies like yourself, and you are one very good example of that, are
Thank you.
really very much active in entrepreneurial space compared to men. What would you attribute this to?
Hmm. I would say that women can, from my own perspective, I'd say that women, one, they're often a bit more social than men from what I've seen. You have,
Mhm.
your women's groups and everything else that's going on, and they can be very good at communicating in whatever shape or form that is. So from that, we're able to bounce ideas off of each other and kind of band together a little bit. And I also appreciate the drive that a lot of women have in wanting to create change or wanting to start something new for their families. Um, of course, I have seen that in a lot of men, and it's very consistent. But I'd really accredit it to women who are always sharp. They're very focused. So I think that's definitely why they've made such a big impact in business, because they are very strategic people and can often look at ways to better situations. So it's been really good to see, actually. I really enjoyed being able to witness the increasing number of women that are joining business, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. It's an interesting space.
Well, you are a very good representative of women in this space, and Well, I am really, really happy to have had you on this show, Mitchell, and to talk about your experience. You are, a very good role model for young people because you don't necessarily need to be a very grown up person to be a role model for others. You can
Thank
start
you. I appreciate that.
even at a very young age, and that is indeed what you represented. When I met you in the Adelaide Afropreneur Summit, I was very excited. Not only to see someone like yourself with your young age attend. But when you actually spoke about your business experience,
Mm.
just like we've heard here today, and I'm sure many people who are watching this will agree. You've got a lot of wisdom. You've got a lot of good ideas and that passion and drive, and that is being used in your business endeavors. I have no doubts that you will go much further. So we want to
Thank
say
you.
thank you for your time, and we will try to organize more opportunities in the future where we can talk more. Perhaps we can talk about youth entrepreneurship in another occasion and look at what are some of the things we can do. And I appreciate some of the recommendations you've made from for a community perspective, which we could adopt here from the Afropreneur Summit to see how we can encourage more entrepreneurship success in our communities. But that is part of our mission and the work we're doing in the community. So thank you very much, Mitchell. And unless maybe just one last word for people who are watching out there, what would you tell them?
Let's keep going and let's keep going and doing it better. So always
All
keep
right.
evaluating what you're doing. Keep it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that applies for you as well. Keep it up, and we wish you success for everything you're doing. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right, folks. That was Mitchell Matemayi, all the way from Adelaide, South Australia, and we thank you for watching. We ask you to share this video, and if you have something you want to share, if you are in business, do not hesitate to contact us. We're developing a platform for more uh, entrepreneurship to be, for a higher focus on entrepreneurship in our communities. So if you have some experience, you already own a business, or whatever that is relevant in this space, we'd like to hear from you. Do not hesitate to contact us. We're more than happy to see if we can have you on the show as well. So I remind all watching that Mitchell's is in South Australia. She does deal with it's a business in healthcare, and there is a lot of opportunities in healthcare that many Africans are getting involved in. So that's an area that you could consider. All right, until next time, stay blessed and keep on watching and keep on doing whatever you're doing. You'll be successful. Thank you very much.